So let us say the unit number 3, climate change, in this environmental agriculture subject. So the major factors involving in the climate change are global warming and changing environment, ecosystem changes, then changing blue, green, grey water cycles. So these are the three major factors involving in the climate change. So these three chapters involved in this unit number 3. So first let us say the global warming cause and the effects. So first, what is global warming? So global warming is the term used to describe a gradual increase in the average temperature of the Earth's atmosphere and its oceans, change that is believed to be permanently changing the Earth's climate. And it can also be said as global warming is a long-term rise in the average temperature of Earth's climate system, an aspect of climate change shown by temperature measurements and by multiple effects of the warming. So climate change can disrupt food availability, reduce access to food, and affect food quality. You see that natural man-made are two types of global warming. So let us see an example. Projected increase in temperature, changes in precipitation patterns, changes in extreme weather events, and a reduction in water availability may all result in reduced agricultural productivity. And also the gases that radiate heat, also known as greenhouse gases, which absorbs the energy radiated out by Earth and reflect a part of it back to Earth. Of all the energy that the Earth receives from the Sun, a part of it, around 26%, is reflected back to space by the atmosphere and clouds. So let us see some of the greenhouse gases responsible for the greenhouse effect are water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and ozone. The greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, fluorinated compounds, in addition ozone. Okay, so these are all the some greenhouse gases, including the water vapor. So classification of natural global warming. So we can classify as volcanic eruptions, ocean currents, Earth's orbital change, solar variations, and internal variability. So these are some classification of natural global warming. Then classification of man-made warming. Warming is burning of fossil fuels, cutting of trees, overgrazing, agriculture byproducts produce methane, power station burns coal. So these are all the man-made global warming. So what are the major impacts of global warming? You see that, so because of this global warming effect, majorly sea level rise. So because ice is melting due to rise in average temperature of global, and therefore sea level rise covering low lying area. So once the sea level rise means, so wherever the low lying area, it will be covered by this sea water. Then drought and floods become more likely as extreme weather increases. Then increased demand for water in hotter summer. Then food scarcity for living organisms. Then species in affected areas may become extinct. Example, Antarctic. Then pandemic disease may occur. So these all things are the major impacts of global warming. So let us see some of the human impacts. Atmospheric greenhouse gases trap some of the outgoing energy, retaining heat. The natural impacts are change in sun's energy output, volcanoes, water vapor, clouds. So some other effects due to global warming are ice is melting worldwide, especially at the earth poles. This includes mountain glaciers, ice sheets covering West Antarctica and Greenland and Arctic sea ice. So in Montana's Glacier National Park, the number of glaciers has declined to fewer than 30 from more than 150 in 1910. Then how do we manage this impact of global warming? Alternative energy resources has to be used. Artificial and natural carbon capture should be adopted. Afforestation in forest and planting of more number of trees in urban area. Internationalism for agreement to control global warming. Farmers has to adopt sustainable practices to reduce global warming. So these are all the some of the managing of the impact of global warming, or we can control the global warming effect by doing alternative energy resources. Artificial and natural carbon capture should be adopted. Afforestation, so very important thing, afforestation in forest and planting of more number of trees in urban area. Then internationalism for agreement to control global warming. So for that there are a lot of summits have been conducting from the international level, so that most of the countries are are participating in that summits, in which they have discussed a lot of things regarding the controlling of global warming effect. Farmers has to adopt sustainable practices to reduce global warming. Yes. The next, so much of this in the causes. So what are the impact in global warming? Let us see some other points. So melting of ice contributes to sea level rise, as we have already discussed. So that global levels are rising, about 0.13 inches, that is 3.2 millimeters a year, and rise is occurring at a faster rate in recent years. So rising temperatures are affecting wildlife and their habitats. Vanishing ice has challenged species such as the Adelie penguin in Antarctica, where some population on Western Peninsula have collapsed by 90% or more. So a temperature change, many species are on the move. Some butterflies, foxes and alpine plants have migrated farther north or to higher cooler areas. Precipitation, that is rain and snowfall, has increased across the globe on average, yet some regions are experiencing more severe drought, increasing the risk of wildfires, lost crops and drinking water shortages. Let us see some impacts on agriculture due to global warming. So global warming is projected to have significant impacts on conditions affecting agriculture, including temperature, precipitation and glacial runoff. So these conditions determine the carrying capacity of the biosphere to produce enough food. So to produce enough food for the human population and domesticated animals. So rising carbon dioxide levels would also have effects both detrimental and beneficial on crop yields. Assessment of the effects of global climate changes on agriculture might help to properly anticipate and adapt farming to maximize agricultural production. So this assessment is going on nowadays. So because global warming is also being affected in all the fields. So agricultural productivity is sensitive to two broad classes of climate induced effects. Yes, so these are all some of the effects. Let us broad cases of climate induced effects. The number one is direct effects from change in temperature, precipitation or carbon dioxide concentration, whereas the indirect effects, though the changes in soil moisture and the distribution and frequency of infestation by pests and disease. So crops were also affected by disease due to this global warming effect. So some more agriculture impacts of global warming. Carbon sequestration in soils, agriculture as carbon cap and storage, local food systems and greenhouse gas emissions, industrial agricultural's huge carbon footprint, greenhouse gases emissions from fertilizer and pesticide use, land use change and agriculture. Yes, so with this I conclude this global warming part in this environmental agriculture. So because this thing nowadays we must give more concentration, and as far as possible we try to limit, or we try to manage the impact of this global warming effect. Yes, thank you.